I'm Myochi.
And I am Renee, and we would like to welcome you to the 40 Spot. If you are a return listener, viewer, welcome back. And if you are new, thank you for listening to us. Whatever brought you in here, we are so glad that you're here. And we would like you to like, comment, subscribe. If you're listening or following us on YouTube, hit that notification bell. Also, wherever you listen to your podcast, you can follow us at the 40 Spot.
Yes, and on today's episode, we will be speaking with BJ Williams, educator and dean of students at Charlotte McLeanburg Schools, about the ABCs of education and what to do to keep your student engaged during the summer months. But first, we're going to get into our While We Were Out segment. This is where we discuss news, entertainment, and personal experiences that have occurred since our last show.
Absolutely. So, one thing, like, guess what? Everybody in the podcast world is friends of ours, whether we know them or we don't know them. But we would like to congratulate Carisha of the City Girls. She started a new podcast on Revolt Television and wherever Revolt is, and it's called Carisha Please. So she had her first episode with none other than Dr. Sean Combs,
Mm-hmm.
also known as
I
Puff
did
Daddy.
on the
He
podcast.
did, yes, 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 absolutely. So we definitely are happy for her. And oddly enough, they did confirm that they are an item.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They are. They are an item, kind of, right? So he was like, when she asked him, "Are we dating?" Oh no, she didn't say, "Are we dating?" Well, she kind of said that, but first she said, "Are you dating?" And he was like, "No, well, I'm single, but I'm dating." And so she said, "What is we?" And what-
Yes.
and he was like, "Well, we date, we do exotic things, we have fun." And she said, at some point, she was like, "Well, I say we go together, so we must go together." And he was like, "Yeah." So it's still a little muddy, right? But it just sounds like they're having fun and enjoying themselves. For me, I'm like, I'm not mad at it. You have somebody supporting you, somebody you can talk to, for both of them, because he even talked about how he goes to her Carisha instead of Miami, because they kind of talked about the difference between Carisha and Miami. And then
Hmm.
he goes to her for advice. So it sounds like they have a cool friendship and they have a lot of fun. I'm here for it. So Carisha, please.
Yes, yes.
In the first 8 hours, she had 1 million views. So that is amazing, amazing,
It
amazing.
is. It is. And we definitely, we at the 40 spot, we definitely want to be able to get to those numbers. And of course, with both of them being very famous in Revolt Television, it already has, a good following. And plus people, they wanted to know the marketing strategy, I think was good. I like their setup, and you could tell like their chemistry was good. He could not stop smiling and grinning. I mean, like he
Like,
was like that little girl in the sixth grade and they had the little dance. It's just like, oh my God, he cute looking over here. Like he couldn't keep you together. It was like, guess what? That's your whole girlfriend.
it's your
Whole
boo. I don't know if they want to put the girlfriend boyfriend thing on there, but it's definitely your boo. My boo.
yes. And guess what? If not, she has already said she ain't finna stop messing with him.
It did get messy. Speaking of which, right? She said, "You like Chinese food or American?" That was hilarious. And I also like that they did bring that up. Like, it wasn't like, let's pretend like it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Very much like she asked him, "So how did you feel when you woke up and we were trending?" And, he said he had to for the reset refresh button, and he had to tighten some things up. We can only assume what that means because she has a show on Revolt and he's sitting on the couch. So, but it was really good. It was like 38 minutes. It's on YouTube. You can catch it on YouTube. It was good. I check it out. I feel like she's fun and she's funny anyway. Like, 'cause I follow her on Instagram and she's funny. She cracks good jokes and everybody loves a good joke. So I
Yes.
see. I would hope. I see that it's gonna be successful. Just to see what
Yes.
she's She was smart though. Smart. Both of them are smart. Obviously, Diddy is really smart. You come on. You come with the controversy first. This is what
Oh, absolutely. Don't never shy away from it.
exactly, exactly. And one thing Diddy did say is he's opening a new well, he started a new label. I cannot remember the name of it. But it is an all R&B label. So it's all
Oh,
gonna be R&B. So I'm interested that he did say who he signed. Probably should have written it down to discuss it, but hey, go watch it. You know, I don't get no likes or views for that, but that's cool. But I'm excited being a music lover and a singer, an artist. Like I'm excited about the fact that and I love R&B. So it's
and I hope this is real R&B, where they're really talking about love, not just who humping on who, and because R&B, it encompasses the love and the heartbreak and the romance and the healing and the getting back together and the family and all of that. So I'm hoping, like, one, I can't, he's undeniably a great businessman. He definitely does have an eye and an ear for talent, or at least his people that he have, going out for the people that have came out on the Bad Boy label. He definitely has that. So I'm here for the love and the R&B, and I'm hoping that it's for real R&B, not no little play stuff. So, but we at the 40 spot wish Carisha much success. Carisha, please. And I'm gonna put this little plug in there. P. Diddy, if you looking for another podcast to put on Revolt
hello.
Television, the 40 spot is where it needs to be, because I think with him, I think he understands, especially having his own network. You want everybody to come and watch your stuff. You
Exactly.
don't want just the young people or the middle age. You want something for everybody. So guess what? We part of your everybody. We
We
part of your
are, and we
everybody.
talk about everything. Like we are not, just to know this to other podcasts. We do talk about things in the entertainment industry, but when we sit down, we have specific topics that we getting into every episode. So it's all about growth here. So, P Diddy, we're gonna definitely
Holla,
hashtag you.
holla,
Um,
holla, 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 holla.
holler at us.
Yes. And for our viewers, y'all want to see us go all the way to the top. Tag him, hashtag her, city girls or whatever. Like, it's like, guess what? We're gonna see what these old people is
And
about.
we city girls too. We older city girls.
Yes, we were city girls before the social media. Thanks be to God. And guess what? That's just with everything. I just can't even imagine now, being my own film crew, running around from teenagers to I got 30 something years old.
So, but yeah, it was really good. Go check it out. Go check
Yes.
it out.
And in other news, speaking of relationships, I'm sure everybody, unless you up on a rock, because TMZ, it has been on Entertainment Tonight, everything. Michael B. Jordan and Lori Harvey, they have broken up. They're no longer an item, and they are moving on. And there has been so much chitter chatter in the internet universe about this. It was no social media that has not been immune. They was trending for several days throughout the day. So, and a lot of people, they are mad. I have been really surprised at how many men has been really hurt. I feel like they was vicariously living through him by being with her. Was like, she hurt him, she did him wrong, now he's gonna be a savage and
I think
all of.
crazy is that neither one of them have confirmed what happened. We can assume that they're no longer get together. I think they're not following each other. She's not following him. She's taking all the pictures down of them together off her social media, right? So they're broken up. But the reason is really assumption or it's hearsay, someone close in their camp. Neither one of them has said. Um, all they said was that they're breaking up and they're both heartbroken by it. And
Mhm.
I mean, so the assumption from that is they do love each other, but they want different things. And to me, that is a simple thing, right? How many relationships we've all been in relationships, not all, because some people meet somebody, then they get married, or they're in long-term relationships. So, but most people have been in or have friends, you've been in a relationship, like, I really care about this person, I really love this person, but we want different things, whatever that may be. And it doesn't make sense to continue if we are literally continuing down two different paths. And I think what people forget is Lori Harvey is 25. He's
Only 25.
35. They dated a little over a year. So 9 times out of 10, she was 24.
Yeah.
So, but men mad because they feel like you got a good man and you threw him to the side. So they butt hurt because they feel like they good men and they got somebody dump them. That's my opinion.
But I because I had, went kind of a little back, made my little commentary stuff in some of the groups on Facebook, and it's like it may have been that, and I was just offering other angles.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there are things that she's seen in him, that she didn't like in terms of for a husband and or for a potential father of her children.
Or for
Also,
forever.
yes, and
Like,
also,
it's great right now, but forever?
but it could be, yes, I want these things, but I don't want them right now. And people, they forget who is her daddy, Steve Harvey, who has written books about act like a, think like a man, act like a lady, think like a man. That was the first book. So, and men was pissed off at him when he wrote the book, because I remember when the book came out, I got it. One of my friends from Memphis, he was so mad, somebody gonna kill him because he just giving all the game. No, I think what he did was, as being a responsible person, as you transition older in life, like, you know what, I see what is happening and I want the best for all women, because some of these women fall into, these are my nieces, my sisters, my aunts, cousins, so on and so forth, or these are also females that is associated with men folk that I see.
So people are gonna do what they want to do. So
Oh,
the fact that
absolutely.
he's said all these things and given all this game or whatever, at the end of the day, women and men are gonna do what they want to do. But at least you have a little bit more information. Tina said, "Love can't carry a relationship through. You got to be on the same page on one's needs, trust, finances, honesty, etc." I completely agree with that. So,
100%.
because again, we are assuming he
Yes.
talked about marriage at 35. I can see that, but
Hmm.
that's the time you start talking about, I want to get married, want to have kids. And if that was the case and she wasn't on that, like, I love you, but I want to date you maybe another 3 years.
Like, you had 35 years to do what you wanted to do, and maybe she wants that, or maybe she already have a set time of when she wants to potentially start having children and stuff. And then you have to think, like, she is very young. She has a successful clothing line. I can't think of the name of it, but it's in like
She has
high end department stores. So
like skincare line. She
yes,
influencer, like, she, first of all, and also her parents have money. That's the other piece to this puzzle, is she's not the average 25-year-old who,
no.
although they may not want to get married, they may have kind of leaned to that direction because they may not have as much going for themselves.
Hmm.
So, and I mean, and not to say that they should or they shouldn't, I'm just saying it's very different for her. She's in a position where, if this is not what I want, I'm good either way, at least right now. And I know a lot of people, even some women you see where they're like, well, if she keeps acting like that, she's going to be single when she's 40. Maybe, or maybe not. But
But look at how long 40 is for her. So
exactly,
it's not like, okay, she 37 and then 40 is right there. But she has a long, long length of life ahead of her. And some of the people, I think, is probably saying that they probably would not want the average 25-year-old person in their family. You need to experience life. You need to get out there and see what's out there.
maybe
Do
her
some other stuff.
decision based on the fact that this may or may not happen is not a good decision, because you're making a decision based on hypothetical.
Yes.
It's
And like I
all
said,
hypothetical.
her daddy and mama is the GOAT. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like her dad has had a lot of experience. He has been through marriages that, you know, didn't last forever. And then he entered into this marriage at a different stage in his life, also at a different finance thing stage and stuff at his life. So of course, if you got somebody to guide you, and direct you, and just 100% honest, and think about this, she's probably gotten way more to do, to not do, look out for, than what he sold in the book.
Exactly.
Just
And
saying.
one thing he did say on his show, kind of speaking about this, is get out early. He made a joke. He was like, get out early. I didn't. So again, that could point to something that maybe bothered her about.
Or maybe it's something that he saw that she didn't see, because because you know, sometimes when you're in the midst of the relationship, you definitely don't have 360 view, because you have these hopes, and then plus what you've experienced, and you hold on to those things. So with him, it's probably stuff that, because he a man, he know how a man thinks and stuff, and it could just be, you know what, we're good, we just not good for each other for the long run. And for her to be 25 years old, and she had a relationship that lasted over a little over a year, that's about right. The problem is people that be 25 years old and they stay in a relationship for 10 years and they haven't gotten nowhere.
Right.
You know, no closer to the altar, no children, you
That's
know,
the
you
goal.
haven't done anything.
Right.
So maybe it's just like, you know, we doing different things, and maybe what he wants and what she wants is what they want, but together with their time and their schedule, honestly, I believe that people that, and I could be wrong because I'm on the outside looking in, the most of the celebrity marriages that have worked, they started out when they was very young, and then they made it through. If not, it
Really
was
want
one individual that was in the relationship that was of Hollywood, the other person was there to be able to keep stuff going, you know. I don't know,
to. Yeah.
but I wouldn't hurt for it or whatever like that. I'm glad that she whatever, for whatever reason, it also shows that she chose her. Just because he looked good, he got money, that doesn't mean, well, you have to marry him. And that could be what some young girls is internalizing. Also, guess what, you can be 25 years old, start businesses, go to school, find yourself. So I think that she offers a whole lot more.
Yeah. Well, in other relationship news, child, yeah, we have a lot of entertainment. Not a lot. We just have a couple more entertainment
Yeah.
news today. But talking about Holly weird couples, uh, saga of Jada and Will Smith. So Jada made a statement on Red Table Talk. It was a statement. It gave zero clarity. It gave zero position. You can go watch it. I'm not gonna say it verbatim because I can't remember exactly what she said. But in summary, she said, I hope these two educated men could come together and hash this out. And that was it.
And heal.
And heal. I mean, we always want healing, which we do. We always want healing. And that was it. So it left a lot to be desired. And one of their friends and co-stars, Miss Vivica Fox, had something to say when she was on Wendy Williams' show, I guess this week.
Yeah,
Um,
she was posting.
hmm And she just mentioned, like, I guess they brought it up because that's what they do, right? Talk about entertainment. And she just said how, you know, she just felt like it was lackluster. Agreed. But then the part I didn't like is that she said that Jada didn't take any accountability. I mean, I think to say that Jada was responsible is just, I don't agree that she was responsible. Now, what she could have done, maybe, but you can't apologize for someone else's actions. Like, I don't think she was responsible for what he did. Now, what she could have done in the aftermath, okay, but and she basically said, what else she said? Something about she should have did more, or something like that.
I the way that I took it wasn't that she was thinking that Jada was responsible. I think what she was saying was that she needs to take responsibility because, several, I guess it was like later on, a couple of days afterwards, she was like, "Oh, I'm here for a season of healing or whatever like that." She made that type of comment, and then also she she said that she's not the type of woman that need protection. So I looked at it that she was um that Vivica was kind of more or less not just what she was saying in that moment, but also what she have said prior to that. Whereas it's like, you know, you have said that you're not the type of woman that needs protecting, but however, that's part of being in a marriage that
Uh-huh.
someone, you protect one another. Um, and she was very emotional because like she said that she has great respect for both of them, and this was his crowning moment as he supposedly transitioning, as she said, to this generation's Sidney Poitier.
Mhm.
And that those are tall, you know um
But we
big
just gonna
shoes to
skip
fill, but
over
it's
Adele to say
yeah.
he was what I mean. So it's not that I don't agree with what she said. The part I definitely don't agree with is she took no accountability because of the question for me is when you say took no accountability, what are you talking about? Now, what you say you got from it, that makes sense. Kind of like, maybe I should have been clear or something like that. But she was like, she took no accountability. But if you're talking about the slap, say what she didn't do. For me, that because it's like to be clear. And I made that face when you started talking about how she was emotional because it's like, child, she about to cry and she was about to I mean, seriously, and I was just listening when you was watching, played it for me, and I'm like, well, why is she crying?
I don't know the emotion that was coming, and I don't know what she looked like when she for real cried. And I do know that times where I've cried when I got on full face of makeup is something different than when I ain't got no makeup on. So we just go leave it like this. It's like, oh, but I will say this: she looked absolutely amazing
She
on the
did,
show. She
she
looked
did,
it good.
she did, but all that I'm about to cry. To me, that was just too much. And I mean, I don't know if they're friends or not, but she just talked about because she said we co-starred in oh Lord,
Set it off and
Set It Off, one of my favorite
in
movies.
Independence Day, and she acknowledged, she said Independence Day that really changed her career in life, and I think it did for both of them, Will Smith
Yeah,
and her as well, because I know he had did other films, but I think that was like one of, at least in my view, it was one of the more bigger films, iconic, and it just kind of never did go away, and then it dropped on Fourth of July, so everything. And that was one of the first movies my sister had on VHS. And Jesus,
girl,
if
don't
we
say
didn't
your
have to
age. Girl, don't
watch
say
it,
your age. This is a 40s
honey, they already. This is what I'm gonna say, girl. They don't know, honey. I remember before we even got a VCR.
Just said, laugh out loud. I wonder if Will Smith just wants to post funny IG things and be left alone. Jada, sigh, girl, yeah. Jada handled the aftermath all wrong. Agree with you, Tina. She handled it wrong. I'm sure he just like, can I just post IG stuff? Tay Diggs took over for him. He funny on IG now. But
Yeah, of course he does. He want to post stuff. I mean, it's just kind of like, when something happened with black folks, and the white people on Twitter, they just looking like, I want to say something, but I already know they gonna be on my head. So you just kind of like, I broke my leg and I'm looking out the window at all of the kids playing outside, and I can't join in.
he really, I think, when will his punishment be up? He can come back to IG. The people who follow him gonna laugh and like his stuff.
This is true, but he already know you go ahead on people in the comment section. You just go ahead and post up
Turn
and
it off.
disable your comments.
Exactly.
But
Leave.
somewhat it's like, if that's all you doing, ain't nobody really trying to work with you. You can't go back to the Oscars for another decade. Turn them comments on and read them comments and go to work with everybody. Battle. I guarantee you this is what he could do: start his own channel and just, okay, you got so much to say.
He
I'm a
could. He could have a YouTube channel. He could do all this stuff. He could actually start starring in like a lot of independent films and like I don't want to say regular, but like let's say I had a film, right? A filmmaker, no name. He could start going in this stuff and get little money here and there. He get popping. Everybody be like, yeah, come on, Will Smith, spend a day with us. I mean, maybe that's
Right.
me. Who knows? Child, what else has happened in the last 2 weeks?
Um. Oh, Judge Mathis, he's having a reality show called Mathis Family Matters.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be good because if anybody ever watched Judge Joseph Mathis, his show, his judge show, one um he was always kind of had his little funny, but you could tell that he was stern. But if you ever watch him in interviews, he is so intelligent and everything. So it's definitely going to be nice to see him outside of the black robe and
yeah.
handling down, because I'm pretty sure he's very much a man's man, alpha head of the household. But it's like I want to see him when it's just like maybe one of his kids just like, I just can't be strong, like,
It's his
dang.
granddaughter. So I said
um
his granddaughter is his kryptonite. Like he asked her in the preview, like, "We gonna do pizza and ice cream?" And she was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Okay."
exactly, because I'm pretty sure his wife had told him, you can't be
Yeah,
eating all
exactly.
that. It was like,
It's his
but
granddaughter has him wrapped around her finger. It's gonna be showing on E. I'll just say support. Hopefully it's funny. I'll support regardless. I just put it on play, whatever. But it's
yes,
funny, so I can imagine that it'll be pretty entertaining. Just want to let the peoples know about that. And the very last thing is last week. Just want to let
yes.
you guys know we did a mukbang. Is that how you say
Is
it?
that how you supposed to say a mukbang?
Muk.
I think
I think it's mukbang. It's MUK bang, and we did it with salads because we are definitely both on our health journey.
yes.
Although you can do it with seafood, but we were trying to. We had a good health weekend together.
Seafood high.
It definitely is high, child. Gas is too. Another topic.
And in them salads, it wasn't no meat. Well, you had some bacon bits,
I
but
have
other than that, it's like,
I have favorites. But just go on our YouTube channel, at the 40 spot and watch it. It was funny. We had a good time. We definitely are thinking about doing it again.
And it
But
probably was the quietest mukbang. Like, you can tell we had table manners because we was not smacking and eating with our mouth open.
what about it?
So it
I
was
think like we were supposed to be, I mean, you can hear some crunch. Don't get us wrong. But it was like we are so polite.
yeah. So we definitely would have to do it again. But we
Yes.
did post like which one was the best. I love Thousand Island. I grew up on Thousand Island. That's always gonna be my go-to. Hers was ranch dressing. So which one we look, that's the better all time. Thousand Island or
Excellent.
ranch.
In the comments, let us know what you like better, $1,000 or ranch, honey. I love ranch. I like honey mustard as well, but ranch is my go-to. I can put ranch on any type of salad. I can use it for any type of dip. Like ranch. You tell me what your ranch. I could trust that. Uh,
Yeah,
I can trust ranch anywhere I go. Even if it tastes a little bit different, I could trust ranch. Some places you cannot trust the other flavors, so I always
this
fall
is
on
true.
ranch. But here's a little known Black history fact. Ranch was created by a black man.
Oh,
Yes,
makes sense.
honey.
Appealing to the African American taste buds.
So, according to Wikipedia, Stephen Henson, born 1918, died 2007. So he died. He lived a long life. In 1949, he was a native of Nebraska. In 1949, he moved his with his wife to Anchorage, Alaska, and he worked as a plumbing contractor for 3 years, in the remote bush. And he said, endeavoring to keep his work crews happy, he invented a new salad dressing.
Girl, what them people was doing
And
way up there in the ice and snow to be like, I gotta create something that, like, did they tie him up? If not, he just went outside. Everybody had a big old snowball dipped in water, and basically it was the ice. It's just like, look,
honestly, maybe it's the equivalent of, and I'm just as guilty of it, but it's the equivalent. You know how when like bosses want to do something, they be like, "Oh, we're gonna do pizza." Man, it's the equivalent of that. Like, "Oh, let me do something for you."
yes, and Actually, he ended up owning a ranch and giving an account of when he was born, and so few African Americans that were owning land, and plus of that, it was called Hidden Valley Ranch. Like that was the name of the ranch that he actually had, location and stuff. So it makes sense.
It makes sense.
I don't eat ranch. I like ranch dressing. Not ranch dressing, ranch potato chips. And I think because then it's just the flavoring of it,
Mm-hmm.
and not
The
that I
cream.
guess it's the milk background of it.
Mm-hmm.
I
Me,
don't I
yeah,
don't
but I
think
love
that's
me
it.
some rich. And I think you brought it up to me. Like I didn't find it. You were like, I think the black man did that. I'm like, well, that makes sense, honey, because I love it. I be licking
We
my
do.
face. So, Fernette in the comments says she does like ranch. She uses it for dipping in chicken and fries.
But
Tina,
she said that she like Italian along with BJ.
mm-hmm.
Italian is a good marinade too.
That's okay. That's okay. Tina said neither. But she also said balsamic and olive oil. They are not on the
Balsamic.
oh Lord. It's balsamic.
I know you
Oh,
gotta watch this little thing. What's the name? Miss Juicy from off of Little Women of LA,
that's sweet.
Atlanta. And then she was like looking at it, she was like, what is this? This balsamic. Everybody looking around. And then she said, but it looks like gravy. But what would gravy go on? This look like balsamic. And then she tasted it. She was like, it's balsamic. And then they cut to people. She was like, everybody was like, it's about something, but it was like as soon as she said it, I knew exactly what she meant. So that's why I said that. That clip is hilarious. I would have to send it to you because when she was
That
like,
is hilarious. And I need to don't send it to me because when you send it to me, I'll probably start saying it, and then when I say it in a mixed company, they'll be like, "Girl, that's not
then
it."
you got to send them that clip.
I
You
gotta
like,
tell them, "No, I know what it is. You know, it's just funny. I said this to my friends. You know, it always happens to me that I use words incorrectly, and then I use it incorrectly in the absolute worst settings." And I'm backtracking like, no, I'm actually smart. I know these words, but
hey, I understand. And lastly, on this day in Black history, the late great Ella Fitzgerald, she recorded her first songs, Love and Kisses, and I'll Chase the Blues Away. So
hey,
shout out to her. And I definitely love that song, Love and Kisses. I cannot sing, so I'm not gonna try. But y'all look it up. But that's a little known little Black history fact that we had. And I think that is all that we have to share for while we're out. And now we can get to our meats and potatoes with a little
yes,
side of
yes, yes.
Italian, Southern, Mr. BJ Williams. He is joining us. He's an educator, dean of students, and he's going to let us know what can you do with these kids while they're out of school to try to keep them motivated, let them not lose what they already had, and keep them prepared or on grade level for the next grade year.
Yes, and please also just tell us how you got started in education, how long you've been in education, and like what path did you kind of take to get to where you are.
Yeah, yeah. What's going on, y'all? Nice to meet y'all. Glad y'all to have
Thank
me.
you,
Glad
thank
y'all.
you.
Thank you for letting me be on here.
Thank you for coming.
My name is BJ. I have been in education. I just finished my 12th year.
Ooh.
Wow.
12 years. I got 18 more until I can retire. Um,
Countdown.
I'm counting down. I'm counting down. Um, let's see. I am, like I said, I'm the dean of students for middle school here in Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I did my undergrad at the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. Go Niners! I did my undergrad in elementary education. Spent the first 3 years teaching fourth grade ELA social studies, and then I was like, I got to go get my master's. So I went to Gardner Webb University, got my master's in educational leadership studies, executive leadership studies. Finished that, and then finished my first 6 years of teaching elementary school. My principal left my fifth year, and she came to me and she was like, "Hey, do you want to go to middle school?" And I was like, "I go to middle school." She goes, "Well, what about being like a dean in middle school?" I'm like, I'll be a dean in middle school. So she left my 5th year, and then she ended up recruiting me to come over there my 6th year. So I ended up going to middle school, loved it. It was my forte. That's where I belong. And so I taught 2 years English there for 2 years, and then I moved into a dean position. I was dean there for 1 year, then got turned into a new teacher support coach. So I was supporting brand new teachers, coaching them on classroom management, behavior management, all the things to make sure they have a successful first year. And then COVID hit. COVID hit, I actually had the opportunity to go work for the university, work for UNC Charlotte, to help open their brand new elementary school. Went there, opened the elementary school. Did not like the person I was working with. Very toxic. I'm gonna leave it at that. Ended up coming back into CMS as an academic facilitator. Finished the year of COVID with that position, and then my principal and the APs at my current school called me and they was like, "Hey, you want to come back? We got a position for you." And I was like, "I'll give y'all 1 more year." So just finished year 12 there as the dean of students. I've also was a baseball coach this year. I do way too much. I did way too much in that school. But it was, I would definitely say out of my 12 years, this has been the hardest year for any educator around the world. Definitely the hardest year of my whole career.
What is your ultimate goal? Like, as far as, I mean, I know you have a lot of goals within probably your school, but what is your ultimate goal professionally to stay?
Okay. My next step right now is I'm looking for an AP position. So the AP positions in our district have not dropped yet. I do have a lead according to working with a former AP of mine, assistant principal, who is now the now the principal of an elementary school. He's reached out to me. He wants me to come over there. So I'm looking forward to hopefully getting over there with him. So my next step is, of course, is the assistant principal position. But I'm also looking forward to hopefully eventually having my own school, becoming a principal.
You want to be like Coach Carter?
Kind of like Coach Carter.
That's your goal.
Like my internal being was always Joe Clark. Joe Clark was my mentor. That was my internal mentor. Well, You Know Me is one of my top movies. I watch the movie before the beginning of every school year. Like, that is my movie.
Yeah. What am I talking about, Carter? I was trying to talk about Lord have mercy. Thank you. Coach Carter, that's a coach. Sorry.
But he still was in the educated. He still got them together too.
Coaching is very important, especially you got to have solid coaches, because a lot of the kids, like I said, I coached baseball this year for my school, and this is the 5th year I coach baseball. It is extremely hard because you really have to be. I had to show my middle school students how to be a student athlete. They just thought, "Oh, I'm an athlete. I really don't have to do the work in the classroom." It's like, no, you got to do the work, because if you don't have the grades, you don't play. And I have no problem putting you off on the team.
Well, that's good, because those days of quote unquote dumb jocks and people, they just pass them on because their athletic ability. I'm glad that a lot of people and the system as a whole has just kind of no, we ain't doing it.
Especially for our youth. You know,
absolutely.
Like, you may get signed. Okay, you get signed and you may be out. You're after your first year and you have nothing going on.
And then you barely can count and read these contracts and all this other kind of stuff. You don't know how much money you're supposed to be having and stuff. So yes. And we definitely appreciate, because we need more Black males in education so that kids can see representation of themselves. And also sometimes those father figures is very much needed. And also just African American representation, because sometimes they don't know culture, and I ran into that several times with my son. They just think certain things are just odd and weird, but it's like, no, it's normal. Trust me, it's normal.
What would you say? You said earlier that this was your hardest year. So what about this year made it harder for you?
The biggest piece was really just getting these kids back into the swing of being in school. I work at a middle school, so like sixth grader or my eighth graders that we just had we just promoted to high school. The last time they were in school was when they were in sixth grade. So these kids now they haven't been in school for a year and a half. So it's literally not only are you trying to teach curriculum, but you're also teaching kids how to school. Remember, you got to think these kids learn how to school when they were in elementary school. They learn how to walk in a straight line and all the basic fundamentals of being in school. And then now you're out for a year and a half where you don't have that structure for 180 days because you're sitting at home looking at a computer screen trying to learn. So you're missing out on the hands-on instruction. So then now, and the personal, the social aspect of it. So then now you're throwing them back into school. Not only just putting them back in school, but you're now having to deal with masks and COVID regulations and staying 6 feet apart and changing all these normal protocols that you already have set in place. You got to go back and flip those and turn them around and do this and do that because it has to be COVID protocol. And so, trying to balance all of that and then just having the kids want to be social. We get it. We understand you want to be social. You want to have the chance to talk, but you need to stay 6 feet away from each other. You need to wear your mask. You need to get to class on time. You need to, stop playing around. So it was so much just to try to get through the curriculum. Trying to get my teachers are trying to teach the curriculum that they have to teach because we have a very strict, scripted and rigorous curriculum. They're trying to get through it and trying to manage that plus student behaviors and dealing with parents and trying to get in contact with parents because you have some parents. I had parents at my school that they would block the school's phone number. So if we tried to call them to reach them and say, hey, your child did this or this is going on or hey, we need to talk to you about this, the number doesn't go through. And especially at my school was 65% Hispanic, 27% African American. So I had a very high. We're the most diverse school in CMS, and I had kids from about 25 different countries and about 17 different languages at my school.
Wow!
And so just trying to keep in contact with those parents, and a lot of our kids are transient. 1 week they're at school, 1 week they've moved back to their home country, and the next week they moved to another school, but now they're back at the school. And trying just to keep in contact with them was so much.
Okay, we have a question from one of our viewers for you. What was it like for teachers, and what did this year feel like for them? And I'm assuming them referring back to the teachers.
Right. I would say the biggest thing for them, it was a struggle for all of them. Even some of my veteran teachers. I had a veteran teacher who's been in the game for 20 years, and she struggled. The burnout, usually teacher burnout, even for administrator, but teacher burnout on a normal school year would happen around November, December, right before break. You get the break, 2 weeks off, you come back, he's like, finish the year. Then you start to get burnout again right by spring break. Spring break, you come back, all right, we can finish the school year. Legit, once burnout hit in October, November.
Ooh, early.
And it stayed. Teachers were dropping left and right, not from our school, but just the district. You turn around, this person's left, this person's left, this person's moved on. I had a teacher from my school who left in April. She didn't want to leave. She was really she was working with the company that she works with now, was trying to stay to the end of the year because she wanted to. But it was just these dedicated teachers that I've seen in that building since I started there in 2016 are just drained, and you come to work looking tired and you are literally just out of it. And I know my teachers gave their all. They fought every day tooth and nail with students, with parents, everything. I could never ask for a better group of teachers that were on my hallway, but they were tired. It's crazy to see a veteran teacher, and luckily, this was her last year. She retired, and I'm happy for her. She gave 33 years.
Oh, wow. Congrats to her.
Seeing her come out just drained.
If this wasn't retirement for her, it probably would have been okay, y'all.
Right.
Yeah.
So with this burnout, do you think it was just a combination of everything, or also with the teachers having, 18 months, no instruction? They've been at home in front of a camera as well. So you don't have those typical in classroom behavioral issues and stuff. And also, you just trying to keep everybody, engaged as best as you can. Also, they themselves, because I definitely, I know for myself, because my son, he struggled every day. I came home, I said, I don't know what I'm walking into. So it was just a lot just for him. Okay, you get there and it's like I'm getting online, but you wrapped up in a blanket, and
Mhm.
you just like this, wrapped up in a blanket, and it's just blank stares everywhere. So I know how hard it was as a parent trying to keep a child motivated, because it doesn't feel like school.
Right.
But do you think they struggle with that too, because it didn't feel like teaching either?
For virtual learning for teachers,
Mm-hmm. And then transitioning back into the classroom setting, so like you kind of been at home chilling,
right,
and you haven't had to deal with a lot of stuff that you didn't have to deal with, and then when you
right,
get back, it's just everything magnified.
right. I think I think teaching virtually was a struggle because the teachers were teaching the blank screens.
Mm,
Kids didn't turn on cameras. If they did turn on the camera, you maybe had one or two in a class that turned it on that were actually doing the work. But
mm-hmm.
majority of the time, the kids didn't turn on cameras. The cameras are off. Even I remember hearing teachers now, like this past school year, the kids they had for virtual learning, and when they came in, they really didn't know the kid. They was like, "Oh, you're that kid," because
Oh
they never
wow.
saw they never saw their face on the camera. They're looking at
Mm,
a blank screen with their name written on it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
okay.
Um, so I think for teachers, for myself, even though I'm an administrator, I still call myself a teacher. I'm a teacher at heart. Um, for us, going back into the building was like, yes, like we're back in our element. That's where we thrive. And we know kids will thrive there because, kids learn hands on. They want to be in person, they want to see it. But I think it was hard for teachers because of it's literally you're starting from ground zero. You're literally taking an eighth grader who still has the mindset of a sixth grader,
Mm,
or you have the sixth grader who still has a mindset of a fourth grader. So
Yeah.
I'm sitting here trying to teach you. Not only am I teaching you eighth grade curriculum, because in seventh grade you missed that piece. You didn't get everything you needed in seventh. So now we're playing catch up with seventh plus new curriculum.
It's
But then
that
I'm also
development.
trying to teach you the social, emotional, and have the cognitive mindset to be an eighth grader to actually be mature about it. You know what I'm saying?
mm.
That was the hardest thing.
Because they
You
And
were
know,
developing, they were aging, but not developing in
yes.
their peers.
right,
So
right.
you miss that whole social emotional piece.
Mm,
And even development happens when you are with others. It's not
Mhm.
it
just
does.
you
And if
sleep
you
with
miss it,
each
you
other.
have missed it.
And if you have
Right,
not, and the parents can, and parents can only do so much with engaging. It's different when you are with your peers and you're learning how to do certain things.
right.
This reminds me of what Virginia did when schools became integrated. They shut down the public school system and gave out vouchers, but you had to pay for the vouchers. So, of course, the majority of the Black population could not afford these vouchers to go to these schools, and the schools was away, and they bused those kids. And so, Virginia fought tooth and nail and ended up going to the higher level courts of the land to reopen the schools, but the schools stayed closed for 6 years. So now you had kids that were 6 years old, now they're 13. They have not gotten any type of instruction. And I just remember reading some of those papers and stuff where a lot of them, they didn't go back. And if not, you had a sixth grader that's supposed to have been a 12th grader. At that point, they've already started working. So they're not coming back. And to hear some of those and hear and read the interviews and documentation from interviews and stuff from that, people was like, some people they did go, but then they felt like they were stupid because they had not had any type of instruction. It's just like, but I'm like, I'm almost a grown man, but I can't even read what I'm supposed to read because they shut down the system. And then now it shows those people, those Black people that did not get that education during that time, now they see what has happened with those generation of their offspring and so on and so forth, because now those are our parents' age or our grandparents. So the United States is in for a doozy, like world. I mean, and it's going to be it's going to be ugly, really, really ugly, because you're going to have the bulk of your population really, really behind. But we did have another question. Does the state or local government, let me scroll up, do anything to support the morale slash burnout or help with retention? Also, what were the most noticeable problems you saw during this return in the classroom experience?
Okay. The first question: does the state or local government do anything to support local morale? I know the state did. The federal government gave states a certain amount of money to use for COVID relief.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, states gave it to the counties, whatever the case may be. And I know for North Carolina, they ended up giving us, as educators, a bonus. And one of the bonuses that they gave CMS was a $5,000 bonus. If you were a teacher, you got a $5,000 bonus. But here's the kicker: they gave you $2,500 of the bonus. I want to say this was like January, like right when we got back from winter break. But in order to get the other $2,500, you have to return next year. You won't get it until September.
Talk about a catch-22.
That's how they're trying to retain us. That's how they're trying to keep teachers. But for a lot of teachers, that's like, screw that bonus. It's not going to make me stay.
Like, and it takes so long to get it. Like,
right.
And at the end of the day, y'all been functioning without that. So it's kind of like, okay, and the stress piece is the piece that's causing y'all not to be able to retain.
Right. And see, the thing is, you would think, with most companies, I would say, business companies, a lot of times if you get a bonus or something, it's usually tax-free. I could be wrong. I'm not a business person. But majority of times I feel like if you get a bonus, it's tax-free. Ours, they tax the heck out of it. So you sitting there, you thinking you finna get $2,500. You like, great money, but you actually getting like $12,500 because.
And that's if you have no children. Yeah. So
and I'm childless, but they still tax the heck out of it for me.
That with bonuses, they do tax it usually. I don't know.
Right.
I can't speak for all companies, but they usually do tax it, and that's always the kicker too.
And then they tax based off your tax bracket. So some people get taxed more than others. So it's still not $2,500. Which in this case, they should have just been cutting checks for $5,000. It should not have been stay 25. If guess what? If you don't stay, you don't stay.
Or provide services. Because if the issue is that the teachers are stressed, why not provide services for teachers? Why not provide them with
I know our district did provide, I can't remember what the acronym is called, but they offered for teachers and it was free. It didn't mess with your insurance or anything, but they offered like mental health services. They offered therapy and different programs and things that you could go to help you during this whole COVID process and your mental health state and everything. So that was offered by the district and it was beneficial. I mean, I didn't use it. I'm pretty sure some of my colleagues at school probably use it as well.
Even massages, I'm like some for real stuff I think therapy is great.
Right.
That is the mental piece, but the physical piece, what about massages? I know that seems simple, but
right. I ended up, the very thing about the massages was for Teacher Appreciation Week, I ended up getting my teachers. I have a friend of mine who owns a traveling massage company. Shout out to Brandy. Quick shameless plug.
No
Pamper Us. She actually provided. I work with her. She cut me a great deal to provide massages for my staff, and I had the teacher sign up. I was like, you know what? Y'all deserve it. I mean, it's a 10-minute massage, but it's something that you deserve. You're going through the trenches.
Yeah.
And as for that other question, the most notable problems I saw, oh man, just behaviors. I dealt with, defiant, disrespectful. I've dealt with teachers being assaulted. I've dealt with drugs. I've had um, marijuana edibles. I've had tobacco. I've had alcohol. And these are sixth, seventh, eighth graders. These are kids between 11 and
They
13, 14.
babies.
Wow.
Um, I actually had a gun brought to school.
Mm.
Um, it was a lot. Like every day was different. You never knew what you were walking into in the building, which is, I mean, one of the reasons why I love education. You know, every day is different. You never know what you're going to expect. But it was sometimes it was just constant. Like I never left my office to just go and be in a classroom and sit and help a student like with an assignment or
Like, do the things you love to do.
yeah, do the things I love to do. I was literally in my office suspending kids, trying to get them linked with therapy services, linking them with a counselor to talk about this, their suicidal thoughts or doing a threat assessment or
You ain't know, but you worked in the emergency room. Because honestly, God, truthfully, like what you're just describing is literally every emergency room in the United States. And then they have those extracurricular services, trying to like, okay, this is why you in my office, this is why you in ER. Okay, let's try to help you and see if it's something else that we can do.
And someone made the comment that, they don't pay teachers enough to deal with everything. And that was before COVID and everything you guys have began to deal with. So just you listing out all of that, it's like, and here's another layer of responsibilities when they say that to be determined of
right.
responsibilities for educators, that it's almost as if it's always been said that teachers don't get the respect that they deserve when it
Here
comes
in this country, because other countries, teachers are highly valued. They are
yeah.
appreciated. They are like the rock stars of their communities. Nobody messes with teachers because they know without them, how do you get everybody else? And that's one thing I just never understood as far as state, local, and the federal level of government. None of you people would be where you are at in life had it not been for teachers, be it elementary, middle, high school, college, graduate, whatever the case is, you
Somebody.
wouldn't even have that.
Yeah.
So we have another question from Miss Burnett. Said, BJ, what can we do? What can we all do to ensure we vote the right people in position to be the best support for teachers and put the necessary measures in place to give teachers higher pay, better benefits, and look out for the best interests of teachers, students, and parents? That's a great question.
That is a good question, a very good question. I would
Thank you,
definitely say
for that.
definitely make sure you are researching the candidates. I know I personally didn't vote in this last primary. I missed it. But definitely looking at your candidates, looking at your board members. I know one of our biggest things for CMS is some of our board members are not the greatest people. You do have some that do fight tooth and nail for the teachers and look out for the best interests of teachers and the students. But you didn't have some that just look out for their child because their child goes to CMS school and they want their child to be but
So parents
not
vote for board members?
Yeah.
The county, the state, the Mecklenburg County, you vote for the board. You vote for your
I asked I don't have any kids, but some parents may not even know that.
right.
Yeah.
That, hey, you can vote for these board members. Because it's all about, some elections we may miss, but there's certain elections, like if you want to directly affect and impact change, like these are the people you should be voting for.
Yeah, you gotta look at your board members, look at what district you're in, and look at who's running for the school board for that district, because that's the one that you're voting for that's going to help make a change for not only your district but for the district as a whole.
And also another thing that's on that, because where I live at here in Nashville, before they do those things, they always have zone meetings because, and I know with Charlotte is an upcoming city and there's a lot of building and stuff like that. So they're going to be cutting up that city and rezoning. So go to those zone hearing meetings, because you don't necessarily want, okay, we're going to zone a whole lot of stuff for a new Walmart or for, stores and stuff like that. But then but in all these other houses, neighborhoods and stuff, but then most of these places, they are single family homes, they come in with children. And if your school is already overpopulated, but they have not planned or even set aside land for those schools to be built or even voted on, your child is going to go to even more crowded schools that have more portables. And what has happened where I live at, there's been a population explosion, which to get stuff zoned to build houses is all the more happens more quickly than it does to be able to get land to build for schools. And my son, he had went to an elementary school. As soon as they opened, it was a brand new build. It was already over 1,000 kids at the elementary school, and then they had already 8 to 10 portables day
Wow.
one. So because for the school to be built, they had already built probably like 6 other different developments around that was going to be zoned for that, and even more
Uh-huh.
and more and more. Um, so we have another question from Erica. Have you noticed more depression and anxiety amongst staff and students?
Um, Definitely with students. I'm pretty sure with staff, but since my biggest focus is the students, I definitely saw a lot more mental health issues with students, not just depression, anxiety. Um, what else? Oh my God, it was so much. Just really having kids, suicide threats, like wanting to cause self harm, kids that were cutters, um,
Mm,
and like literally having to be all eyes on them. There were several kids I had on my hall that they couldn't go to the bathroom by themselves. Like in order for them to go to the bathroom, they had to be escorted by an adult. They couldn't be escorted by a kid. They had to be escorted by an adult because they were on a 30-day suicide watch. They were
wow.
on, kids. I've seen some kids are taking other medications or they're self-medicating because they're using marijuana and edibles and things just to try to get through the day. And it's scary and it is crazy. I mean, COVID caused it. Um, I had another one of my students who, very sweet young lady, her sister actually played volleyball for me for 2 years when I coached at my school. Um, she ended up developing social anxiety because she was away for someone so long that now that she's back in the classroom, she's like, okay, I can only be in here for so long, and then I need to go be by myself.
Hmm.
Just because she was away from, the kids are at home, they're not around their peers. And like you said,
Mhm.
my school had, on average, pre-COVID, we were at about 950 kids. This year, we were sitting at 855, 860. So we
Mm.
lost almost 100 kids either to virtual learning or, they moving across the district or going to a different school or whatever the case may be.
So your school district or your school, they offer either or, they can do in person or online.
The district did offer it. So when we went back to school in August and we were going back to in-person learning, families had the option to go into Charlotte Mecklenburg Virtual Academy. It was up to them to do it. But our school itself, each individual school did not offer it for the kids. It was the district that offered it. So the kids had to, it was a separate school. So it wasn't like you were
Mm.
at my school, but you were also doing virtual school through the district. It was
I
like,
see.
no, you're now no longer enrolled at my school. You're enrolled in virtual academy.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I
I
think
wish they had that here.
they're getting ready to phase it out for us too. I want to say it's getting ready to get phased out for a certain population. I can't remember what grade levels because I think they brought it into third. It went up from third to 12. But part of me wants to say they're getting rid of like third, fourth, and fifth, and it's just going to be 6, 12.
Because I know one of my coworkers, his daughter actually did better with virtual learning because she just, for whatever reason, was just like she's kind of a loner, just want to be by herself. People got on her nerves easily, all different type of stuff. But then when COVID hit, she excelled. She did good. So the whole time he was thinking like she hates school. He was like, she don't love it, but she can definitely do the work to get through it. But it was, and I think it was a smaller portion of those people probably kids that was getting bullied and stuff. That COVID probably was the best thing that ever happened to them
Right.
She may
because
have
it
had
got
some
them away
social
from those
anxiety.
people.
It may have not been huge, but she may have had some type of social anxiety that
Could
issues
have been.
with her schoolwork. So now that I'm home working, I can focus in on my work and I don't have to focus in on the other things. We have some comments, um, which is like crazy. We have one person that says, my nephew had a classmate who committed suicide in the restroom this year, and another classmate found him. Horrific. That
I
is
think I want to say that. I want to say that sounds very similar to something that happened here in Charlotte,
wow.
or not here
Yeah.
in Charlotte, but like somewhere in the surrounding area. It was really crazy.
We had someone else brought up the fact that her daughter is concerned about who's going to protect them, and talking about mass shootings, and so that's another layer for teachers included. You
Mhm.
know, because not only do teachers have to worry about that being something that's possible, but they also have to worry about how students are feeling about that possibility.
Right.
So that's like a double whammy for teachers, and then it's unfortunate. Children can't just go to school anymore and only worry about school.
Hmm.
No.
Every single thing that's going on in the world because it may show up at their school.
Well, I have a question because it has been tossed around a lot in the media in different states. How do you feel about allowing teachers to arm themselves in the classroom? I know it's
Honestly,
all the way low. That's a
honestly,
loaded
I don't, I
gun.
don't, I don't like that, and I say that because, and the crazy thing is, I know for myself, I know for several other teachers I work with, even just videos I've seen of people posting on social media of teachers like snapping. I
Yeah.
mean, you give a teacher a weapon and that teacher snaps, God forbid what happens in that classroom.
Because
Like,
when
I'm
you're
pretty
in
sure
you're not thinking straight.
you're
So
not.
having a gun does not assist.
You're not thinking straight at all. There's been I mean, I have snapped like on in the hallway on kids like, yo, just go to class, and you snap, and it's like you see red, and it's just like a kid, especially when kids get in, they get in fights or something happens, and they'll come to me, yo, Mr. Williams, I know I did it, but I saw red and I snapped. I was like, I get it, I understand,
But
but
you still
I
suspended.
strongly disagree with that. I will say for our school, the school I'm at, we have, and just for every, I want to say for every CMS school, we have school resource officers. And lo and behold, our school resource officers at the very front of our school. And like as soon as you walk in, you have the front office, you have student services, and the SRO offices right there. So, if something happens like that, I remember this year there was a threat of something around campus. It wasn't on our
Mhm.
campus, it was actually at the elementary school that was less than a mile away. And he was on high alert for us. Like he was walking around and notifying our admin team, was like, hey, there's this going on, be prepared just in case. He was looking for the principal, was like, hey, be prepared just in case we have to go on a lockdown. And of course, we trained in lockdowns. We know what to do. The kids know what to do. The teachers know what to do. And for a lot of our kids, I remember doing the practice lockdown. A lot of them took it as a joke. It's like, yo, this is not a joke. Like, yeah, you may know it's a drill, but God forbid there is an active shooter somewhere in the area, or there's one in our building.
You need to
You got to buckle down, shut your mouth, and be quiet, and hope and pray that everything is good.
Yeah. I personally I don't agree with arming teachers for the simple fact, as African American people of color, a lot of those things affect us. Because the first time I heard it, I was like, the teacher is gonna be telling people like, hey, get your books out and your paper and your pencil or whatever like that, and then the teacher shoots a kid with. I thought they had a gun with. You just told everybody to pull their books out. Like it's
yourself.
always going to be something like that, or
Mm-hmm.
oh, I fear for my life because somebody in the back said shut up. Like, no, I would never agree to that. And I would tell anybody, if they ever was to pass something like that in your area or nationally, it's time for all Black people take your kids out of school, put them in online school,
Yeah.
virtual learning, or homeschool them or whatever, because it will be our children that suffers. Like, I understand what they want to happen, like, but the like you said, the probability of having an active shooter at school versus a teacher that having a bad day
Yep.
is 2 trillion to
And in
1.
general, you're adding stress, another layer of stress to teachers.
Yep.
They already have all
Absolutely.
these responsibilities, and you're going to give them a gun. Now, that is probably something they'll give free if it was, came to that. Oh, here's a gun
Okay.
with bullets.
Right.
My question, or you may know this answer because this is really about other states. How reasonable would it be for the government to supply money so that every school has a resource officer?
Um, I mean, honestly, it can be done. It can be done. Um, it's basically you're just working with local government because I mean your police force is provided by the local government. I know for us in CMS, a lot of our funding, your supplemental pay comes from local government.
Mm-hmm.
So it's feasible. It's able to be done. It's up to the states to take that to look at their budget and say, hey, here's this money. Why are we allocating so much to this when we really need to be looking at supporting schools with safety and this, that, and the third? I mean, case in point, I'm a blame, and this is on CMS. Our school district with this whole, guns coming to school. That was a big thing, not only just in CMS, but nationwide, guns in schools and school shootings. Um, the district ended up buying 60,000 clear backpacks. I want to think it was about 60,000 clear backpacks. Wasted several hundred thousands of dollars on these backpacks. Didn't use them. Backpacks did not go out to the high schools. They were only for the high schools. Did not use them. So now the district is trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? Auction them off, I think is what I saw in the news. Auction off these backpacks that they just use hundreds of thousands of dollars on for student safety, and clearly knowing these high school kids are not going to use them clear backpacks.
Who they go auction them to? Who buy? Who want a trillion clear book bag?
And the funny thing about it was when the book bags came in, they're getting ready to distribute them out, and then they held off because it was a warning on there about something in it. I can't remember what it was. Something 56 about it could be cancerous or something.
We couldn't read the description before we purchased.
The math ain't math and make it make sense.
But I don't mean no harm, but like plastic in itself, when it's being burned and all of those type of things or get heated, it always have emitted, chemicals that is cancer causing. Like that has been proven because if you look at any firefighter, majority of those people, they have died or they end up with cancers because they breathing in all of that smoke, and it comes from the polyurethane that's being burned when a house or something is caught on fire. The cushioning and plastics and all of this other. Fernette made us. She said the way this our country handles education is disgusting, and that lets you know like the United States is far from having money to absolutely burn and throw away and throw away and throw away and throw away, because from God only know, like
the United States has no interest, in my opinion, in really furthering, educating, keeping Americans healthy. They want you to be healthy enough to work, healthy enough to do. And so we don't want to educate you and give you everything that you need to gain the correct education that you need so that you can be citizens in the world. You can actually be self-sufficient. So we're going to give you the bare minimum, and we're also going to do things to kind of stop you. And so I think that is the main reason why, because no, we want workers.
Right. But then you also then you turn around and punish schools and do all these things because they don't meet the grades they're not closing the achievement gap, or the kids are not progressing as much. And so now you're going to punish
resources. And so you're punished because we weren't given the resources.
Yeah. And you can, because my sister, she used to work for the Walmart Corporation, and with her being a regional manager at that time, they could adopt a school or they could adopt a classroom. So she would have, each store could adopt a classroom and or a school. So my sister would always go in and was just like, hey, she would have some of her stores. Like if my son had 2, 3 classes, you know, adopted classrooms that he was in, and then she would have like, okay, we adopted in the school and give tens of thousands of dollars. So that's how like they always knew us Williams. They always knew us, and it was go look out, whatever. But then that was based off of the money. But because they knew, like teachers, they wanted my son in their class to be able to have, because I think it was $10,000 for the school and maybe $1,000, maybe 2 or 3 for the classroom. Like they just needed stuff, and it was stuff that it wasn't like to make them better, but it was like because they knew that majority of the kids was not, because get the way that it was our district and stuff was, you know, our zone was a Title IV school. So they already knew majority of the kids in there, they wasn't going to have nothing that they needed for the school year. Paper, pencils, book bags, all different kind of stuff. And I remember a couple of years back, because we used to always buy when stuff was on sale, I gave like 30 Walmart, those grocery tote bags, not the brown one, but the good durable ones, filled with stuff to kids in the neighborhood. And it was just like more kids was coming, more kids was coming. Mom said, where's the, I said, people spreading the word. Was like, she over there giving out notebook paper. Cause I'm like, Corey is not gonna write on all this notebook paper. He just ain't. Like, we got to do something with it. But it was actually a need, and it wasn't like, okay, these kids, their parents didn't. But like sometimes you don't know, it's your neighbor. They barely getting by, and they really don't have. And it's so underfunded, so underfunded. It's
Switch topics a little bit and
yeah.
get into the other side of it. You know, we're in the summer, children are out, whether it's virtual or in person, children are out.
Mhm.
What would you say parents can do um, to keep their child engaged? Because we talked a lot about, sorry, I thought my mic was muted. We talked a lot about what happened when they were out for that little time with COVID. Well, not little, that long time with COVID. And I'm
Right.
sure you saw when you had Christmas break, you had little breaks. It kind of was a regression with that, which kind of already happened before. Um, so, what do you think parents can do now? Because 2 full months of no structure,
Right.
what can they be doing now to help their students in?
Um, I would say, I mean, the biggest thing is if you can't find a summer program for the child, whether it's, it doesn't have to be summer school,
Mhm.
a camp of some sort where they're still focusing some kind of educational concept, where it doesn't have to be the kids are doing reading, math, science, social studies all day, but they're getting some kind of educational thing. If you can't find a camp to that, look in the local public library. There's usually summer reading programs that are going on. I know here in Charlotte Mech, they are doing a big summer reading program right now where the kids can, I mean, every student in CMS has a public library card. It's a virtual public library card.
Oh, great.
Every kid in CMS can access, we have a program called Sora, which is just basically digital books. Every book you can find is in Sora. So they can go there. And not just tell the kid to sit and read, but actually, parents read with the kid. Find those books that are controversial. There's a lot of books, and I strongly encourage some students to read. There's several banned books
Mhm.
that are out, especially on the middle school level, that really dive deep into a lot of the big controversial things, like killing unarmed people, shootings in schools. One of the books I read when I first started teaching sixth grade, and I read it with my kids, was called All American Boys, and it was about a black kid, him and his white friend. They're great friends, and the black kid ends up getting shot by a police officer. It's a banned book. Like, schools are apparently not allowed to read it,
Wow.
but it is a book that really, one, I feel like would engage the interest of especially African American child, or a child
Mm.
of color, because it's something they can relate to, but it opens that door for conversation
Mhm.
for a parent and a child. Because a lot of times, especially within our culture, we don't talk about these situations. We were one of those. We grew up in the household where when things happen, we never talked about it. But now it's encouraged to actually sit and have that conversation
Yeah.
with
A lot
your
of
child
times,
about everything that's going on in the world.
and a lot of times those conversation is one direction. It's the parents and
Mhm.
the child. So the book kind of open up an actual dialogue.
Right.
Child can kind of talk about their feelings and feelings they've had about things that they've seen on social media, on television.
Right. So I encourage parents to look into that. If the school district does offer a summer camp program or something like that, encourage the child to go. But I really want to encourage parents to don't look at this as, oh, I'm getting my child out the house. Like the summer slide is real. I don't know if y'all ever heard of the summer slide, but it's basically, from the end of this past school year to the next year, the kids lose 2 to 3 months of learning. And
Yes.
so we as educators are spending the first month and a half of school instead of really trying to go into new curriculum, which, we're slated to go into it regardless of where that child is. But a lot of times you have to go back and reteach things from the previous year to make sure that the kids are caught up so you can move forward. But really, encouraging them to look into those programs. Just get kids active. Like, it doesn't have to be, like I said, school related. Get them active. I couldn't tell you how many times, like, riding through my neighborhood, which I know has several kids in it, the kids are inside. And I get it, it's hot. But, like, get kids away from phones, get them away from video games, like actually go outside. I saw a kid riding a bike the other day and I got really excited. I was like, I'm about to go home and get on my bike and ride with you just because you must start riding a bike. Like, yes. But really, like, get kids active, go and find, there's so many things. I know in the city of Charlotte, there's so many things that are happening for kids outside of school. Like, now that school is out.
Okay. And I know we both, because for our viewers that do not know, BJ and I, we've been knowing each other. That's my big little cousin. But of course, here in Nashville, Myochi in Atlanta, you're in Charlotte. We're in larger southern states that have resources availabilities. So what can people do, like from where we're from Greenwood, South Carolina, or from smaller towns that, they don't have the resources, but also including the library, because most places they do have a library that they have access to, but if they don't have certain different things, what things can those small town people can do with their children so they ain't on the reverse summer slide?
Right. A lot of times you could look for churches, places of
Okay.
worship are offering things like that as well. Whether it's vacation Bible school, or just a summer camp, summer program, whether it's for a
Mm-hmm.
week or for a couple of days. I know, like you said, Renee, both of us, we grew up in Greenwood, 96, two small places in the middle of nowhere in South Carolina. Um, and, we were fortunate to where we had people in the community that opened up summer camps at the local middle school or local high school. And we were blessed that they were free for us and we could go
Yeah.
and still do, arts and crafts and fun stuff, but also still got a little bit of educational stuff just to keep the wheels going and we can still learn and everything. So a lot of times looking at your local community places of worship and see what they're offering. A lot of times you may find a community center. A lot of places I know in my hometown, our hometown, the old middle school is now a community center. And they use it for not only just events, but I don't know if they're actually getting ready to bring back something for like a summer camp, because that's where I remember going to summer camp was the middle school. I remember going to, there for a week and it was fun,
Mm-hmm.
took trips and things like that. But looking at those, being in a smaller place, sometimes you really got to go to the church.
Yeah. And also, just as the idea, if you stay in a neighborhood, and a lot of times people, they know their neighbors because their kids, they play together, and maybe, within homeowner associations, maybe that's something that those people can do. Like, hey, one day over here at our house, we doing this. One day over here at our house, we doing something else. I remember when our neighbors, he used to give karate lessons. He
Wow.
did. He used to get karate lessons in his garage once a week. to the kids on the street, Sensei Dan. And we did good. And then I had to pull Corey out because he almost broke my jaw. I couldn't move my jaw for a week. He was like, Mama, I'm trying to clean up. He was like, let me show you what I did. I was like, yeah. And he was doing all this. I was like, okay. And he went, and I mean, it was on a sweet spot. Like I seen stars and everything. And it was like I was crying, brought me down to my knees because it was just like, I
Well,
can't even try to pick him up and body slam him. Damn near killed me just now. And I was just like, Mom, I think you broke my jaw. I was like, well, if I can't open my mouth in a week, I just gotta go to the emergency room. I was like, you ain't going back over there since like, damn, house. He got to say, show your mom, man. You know, he hit you in the back of the head with the broom handle and stuff. He's like, he showed us this. I was like, no, 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 no. But I mean, other but they do stuff. We done had some we done had some times in this house. but but yes, HOA should try to do stuff. Tina said YMCA, community centers, community theaters, Salvation Army camps, summer sports program that made us read books in order to be able to play. Oh, now that's good. Now that I never heard of, that they required you to read books in order to play sports. That's great.
that is great. Bridget, what do you think about like enrichment worksheets in the sense of how benefit would that be if if it is a parent doing something just one on one where I found some things online, maybe you're working on multiplication. It's like so not a lot because you want them to still have enjoy their summer, but you
Right.
also want to keep them engaged. But do you think that would be beneficial for just like maybe twice a week? Oh, I have a couple whatever level they're on, some things that they did that you found online. Do you think that would be beneficial?
Yes, definitely. And I want parents to realize that those small things make a huge impact. I mean, it could be as simple as I know my best friend, my childhood best friend, we've been friends for 30 years. Her son is 4. He's my godson. Love the kid to death. That's my heart and my love Preston. But like even with him being in daycare, like she would do like he's learning to write his name and numbers and things like that. And I told her like when she started, I was like, don't do it every day. I like, give it every other day. To the point where he became used to it. Like he would come home and was like, okay, let's do homework. And she's like, oh, like it became habit for him. Mind you, he's a 4-year-old. So of course he's going to be excited because he's getting ready to go to school next year. But, it could be just where, the kid gets up in the morning, they eat breakfast, whatever the case may be. And they do a quick reading passage. You're not doing a lot of schoolwork, but you're just keeping skills sharp. And
Yeah.
that's the whole goal of being out of the school in the summer is just keep skills sharp. I'm not telling you got to teach them something new. I'm not telling you that you got to sit there and give them school 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Just give them something to keep their skills sharp.
I think that piece is important. I think that's probably apart from a lot of parents, that's hard, right? In their minds, like, I don't really have time to teach. But it's like, hey, look, what did they learn last year? Here's a sheet. And keep it maybe fun in the sense of don't stress about if they got things wrong.
Right.
Because the whole point is to keep their mind sharp, not that you have to teach.
I know I saw a lot of things on social media. I'm not a TikTok person, but like just Pinterest. Like think about things that your kids would do in the house. Like, hey, if they want to play the video game for, make it a challenge. Hey, you want to play this? You want to play the Xbox? You got to do this. Kind of like chores. If you want to play the Xbox, you got to complete this worksheet. You got to get so many right. You want to eat this snack, you got to do this, and you got to get so many right. You want to go here. Okay, that's expensive. So in order for you to go here, you're gonna have to do this, get so many right before you can go there. So you're giving them that educational piece, but you're also, they're being able to do what they want to do. Because I'm guaranteed, I can guess majority of my middle school students probably sat at home all day in front of the TV, in front of a video game, or in front of their cell phone. Guaranteed. But those, even some, I just saw a comment like playing regular board games. You play Monopoly, you teaching money concepts. You teach subtract money. Playing Yahtzee, learning dice, using math skills, pairs, triples. basic, simple games that we thought was fun, they're also educational. You just got to be able to think on that level.
Yeah.
Oh, never thought about none of that, like playing charades and what is Pictionary? Because you would definitely have to try to do those. What it was taboo, you couldn't say the word, but then
Mhm.
you had to try to think of how can I get this person to say this word without saying the word or the actual definition. Oh, those are great. Fernette, she was like, she had the bookmobile coming. I was like, oh my God, I remember the bookmobile. Used to
Yep.
come up there to the red light in Carnica, and my mama, she was going to
I remember the
Cookie
book, man.
Cookie was going to have us out there, and she used to take us to the library a lot. But my mother, she's an avid reader, but we would have like stacks and stacks of books, and my aunt Berthina, she would send books because she lived in the DMV area, and it was black books. And our cousin, it was like, she used to sing our books, and they used to be just like, do you not know? My mother, she made us do book reports, oral and written book reports throughout the fucking summer. Like,
I
and
remember
all these years, y'all was jealous. And guess what? When they really found out, I was like, this was a form of torture. It's like, we wasn't having fun as much as y'all thought during the summertime. It's just like,
I
that
never
was
had to
dream.
do book reports, but honestly, I loved reading. I mean, I still kind of do, but I don't have that much time. So I would go to the library and do their challenges. So, they'll give you this list of all these books, and I
Mhm.
would love filling them out, turning them in. I don't remember what you got as a prize for finishing so many books, but I would check my books up, check them out, read them, give them back in. Like it was, I loved it. So that piece for me was always easy during the summer. I don't think my mom had to do much for the enrichment because I looked forward to that during the summer. Even though I did other things like summer camp and things like that. But
Right.
Yeah.
that for me, fortunately for me, came easy. But it's not always as easy, because some kids are like, no, I need a break. And especially after the year you're talking about, BJ, that, kids came off a very stressful year. So I can understand them not wanting to do certain things. So I love that board games, taboo, even the things that you may seem like it's not enrichment is really going to help them with their social emotional skills. Like how
Mhm.
can you have that receptive, expressive communication?
Right.
Mm,
That is just as important and that has to be practiced.
yeah.
Right. And you'll be surprised. Like I've just noticed how this past school year, a lot of the kids don't know how to sit down and actually have a conversation.
Hmm.
Oh,
They don't know how to just sit and be away from their stuff, like put their stuff onto the side and actually have an in-person, not through like Zoom or anything, but like an actual in-person conversation with each other. And it's
mm,
crazy. So like using those board games and doing those things where they have to, put their cell phone to the side, um, to actually sit and have a conversation would be helpful. I just thought of another thing just about a cell phone. So if the kid's on the cell phone on time, lock the cell phone up. In order for them to get the cell phone, they got to do just something educational.
they'll do it.
And you get this.
And
Oh,
they'll
they'll
go
do
over
it.
and behind because that right there, that is drugs. That is drugs. And I mean, I know we say it's drugs, but I mean, research is out. They have that dopamine, endorphin
Mm-hmm.
response. So that is a drug, a natural occurring hormone that gives a euphoric type of feeling. So guess what? They're gonna scramble and try to do what they can do to
Right.
get it back.
I just saw this comment. I'm looking at the comments too, about the libraries have free passes to the zoo. I know in North Carolina, um, Amtrak is giving free, not free, one-way passes for students for $5.
Wow.
Oh.
If you purchase if you purchase like an adult ticket, a child
Mhm.
can go for $5. So I'm like thinking, if you want a quick, a 1 day trip,
Mhm.
take the train from Charlotte to Raleigh, go to
Mm.
Raleigh's museums. The museums are free. You don't have to pay for them. So and they're
Yes.
right in the heart of downtown Raleigh. So you take the train, $10 round trip for a child, and maybe, 20, 30, $40 for an adult. It's a $50 trip. That's one, you saving money on gas alone. That's not even a tank of gas. That's a half a
It's
tank of
true.
gas. But it's something else. It's educational, and they're not
Yes.
sitting in front of a TV or in front of a phone. They're actually doing something they've never done. I mean, I'm 36. I still have yet to take the train. I want to take the train.
I haven't. I did take a. It was a short little Amtrak, and it was the first time a couple of years back, and it was like the first time on the train. I was like, "It's not that bad."
Right.
You got a window seat,
A couple
thinking I'm
times,
Erica Badu.
but I want to do it again now that I'm older. But I did a couple times when I was younger.
Also, just another thing, like some people they don't know, depending on who your telephone carrier is, because I know T-Mobile at one point they was doing like free movie passes on Tuesday. You can have those. And some people, if they read all of the little small description that's associated with their debit cards, sometimes depending on who you bank with in your debit card, they give free passes to museums and you know art galleries and different things of that nature. So sometimes we have to look for those type of things. And then it's just something, really like you say, engage with your child, because it may not be something that you're quite familiar with, but it's something like, hey, we can go, and it's very, very minimal cost. Because I know when I lived in Chicago during the summer, they had certain days that it was free. And like every month they had like a couple of like a free weekend or something that you could go to. Um, and those type of things are always nice
I
to
do have
kind
a
of do.
suggestion. Like, think outside of the box
Hmm.
and be open. Because a lot of times, just as adults, we are like, I don't think I like something like that. Like, especially if you're getting a free pass, go. Just try it.
If
Right.
you
And
don't like it, you ain't got to go back,
exactly. And you're
and you ain't
also
really lost nothing either.
to try new things. And if you don't like it, like you said, it's fine. I want to go back. But being open to certain things. Fernette said that the library has a lot of access to activities in the city for free. So it sounds like the
Mhm.
library is the plug. So
Hmm.
check out your local library and see what they have. Because some people are using these things. And unfortunately, everyone doesn't know, but we have to do some research as well.
Oh, and also another thing, if you are near a Planet Fitness, children, teenagers and stuff, they can go all summer long
Oh,
for
for
free
free.
to Planet Fitness.
Really?
There's
Yes.
another, yeah.
Awesome.
There's another one I did. I did it when I taught elementary. It's like I want to say it's kidsbowlfree.com.
Hmm.
And if the parent goes on the register, you can look up your local bowling alley, and the kids can bowl free for the summer. But it's also a great
Okay.
way to looking into a kids bowling league. We do. I was fortunate to work with a teacher at my school who ran a bowling league for teens, and actually have these kids get college scholarships to bowl.
Wow.
Wow.
And so, like, it's a great way to look at, oh, they're picking up a new hobby. They want to go bowling, and next thing you know, they're in a bowling league and they're winning scholarship money and now going to bowling, bowl for college.
Yeah, and as I say, sometimes with getting money for college, you have to not think of like the big ones, basketball, track and field,
Right.
football, baseball, those smaller ones. Because it was a guy, he graduated with my sister. He played soccer, wasn't the greatest in the world, but he got a free ride. But he was also very smart. But still, he got a free ride because he played soccer. But soccer now is getting big here in the United States. But still, there was room for to give him a scholarship, and he went to Clemson of all places. So you know, and he got his 12 a year paid for.
Right.
So
Yeah.
there's just so many resources out there, and we as parents just have to do the work of
Hmm.
researching because unfortunately they don't always advertise about these things that are available. So it's if you
Hmm.
know, you know, and if you don't know, you don't know. So what do?
Right.
Is that you got to start researching and seeing what's out here, and you definitely gave us a lot of things to think about. And
Okay.
comments had some good suggestions too.
Absolutely. Last question, and then we can get on up out of here.
Mhm.
What can, as students getting ready to return back, what do parents need to do to stay involved with their kids and with the school, and how can they do more? And even the community members, whether you have children at the school or not, but you know, people they still want to try to get involved? What can they do?
First thing I would say, and I'm taking this from, I guess I would say, personal experience, is
Okay.
one, parents, make sure your contact information is up to date.
Absolutely.
Make sure phone numbers, email, uh, address, everything is up to date. Because I could not tell you how many times I had to call parents and it's the wrong number. And like I said, I'm using this from my perspective just because of what I'm used to. I know we said that a lot of our parents are working class poor, meaning a lot of our kids my school is 100% free and reduced lunch. Every kid gets free breakfast, every kid gets free lunch. And a lot of our parents work 2-3 jobs. So even though that you're working so much, at least, on a day that you're off, take 2 hours, come back to school and see what can be done. Whether it's just cutting out some stuff or get ready to send stuff home to the kids about testing and events that we're having, volunteering for sports things at school, being able to help with a PTO or PTA, getting involved in it. It's not just that I think a lot of people want to make sure that they think that with PTO, PTA is all about giving money, but it's not just about money. It's also about time. Whether it's, with a PTO is helping create bags for Teacher Appreciation Week, give an hour or two to come in and help create those bags for Teacher Appreciation Week. And then, that's still just benefiting the school. Look at, getting involved. If you're involved with your company, your business, and you're doing stuff for them, have your business, if they have not adopted a school or a classroom, have them adopt your child's school or adopt your child's classroom. And, it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to maybe monetary things. A lot of CMS is fortunate to have a company here called Classroom Central, which a lot of businesses partner with. And a lot of their old like pencils and pens and leftover, school supply stuff or knickknacks and things that they've given out over the year goes to there, and teachers can go shop there, and they shop for these like things they can use for incentives and be able to restock their classroom with if they can't get it stocked, using it instead of using their own personal money, they can go there and get stuff. But if you're not in a place where you're not able to have a company like that, work with your company and say, hey, can we adopt this school and collect some school supplies and drop them off, have a school supply drive and drop them off at the school and say, hey, here's some great school supplies, to get the kids started for the year. And then you may want to look at it. The biggest re-up is right at winter break when they come back to school for second semester. Here's another re-up. Other thing, God, I just saw this in the comment, check your child's grades. Get involved that way. Schools have social media. Our school has an Instagram page. They have a Facebook page. See what's going on there. Get involved with your kids' grades and know what your kids' grades are. Don't come to myself as an administrator or your teachers at the end of the quarter and say, oh, I see little Johnny has a 50. What can he do? Can he give extra credit? It's like, no, little Johnny has a 50 because he's not turning in the work or he's not giving his all. And like I said, I understand, I get parents are working constantly. I understand that. But as a parent, you have one of these. A kid has one of these. You can check. I couldn't tell you how many letters I gave out just for, hey, this is how you log into Power School to check your kids' grades. And I sit with the parent and have them set it up. Like, it's really easy. It's a click, 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 and you're there. And you can see what your kids' grades are. You can converse with your teachers, that you can send them a quick message on there as well. And that is the biggest piece, is just, building that relationship with the school. Because a lot of times I think the parents are always out to think that the school is about to get you, and vice versa. But it literally is a village raising a child. And I know that was real for me growing up. Pretty sure, like I said, with Renee too, because we're from the same area, it was a village raising a child. And it was everybody involved. So not only just your parents, but if your parents can do it, get a cousin or auntie or uncle, someone that can actually come and support, and it doesn't have to be monetary. Like the biggest support that we need, I know for my school, is during testing. End of grade testing. If you can come to school and give me 3.5 hours and proctor a test where you're not doing nothing but sitting there and watching a kid take a test, that is the biggest help ever. Because we are
Wow.
right. It is the biggest help ever because if we don't have that outside support, not just from parents, but just from community as well, we then have to pull our teachers to become proctors, which now takes away from more kids testing, which is going to extend our testing window. And these kids don't want to have to keep waiting for testing and waiting to take their test. And then, here comes the end of testing and they're like, oh, I didn't take my math test. Oh, now we got to go get back and get you to take the math test. That is for us, testing can be done in 4 days, but it literally took us 8 because of the amount of people that we had to.
I never thought about that because when my son, they was having testing and stuff, I was like, I don't understand why I take 10 days, basically 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But now it just makes sense because you having to try to pull.
Right.
Pull, because when, back in the day when we took BSAP and CTBS tests, it was 1 week. And you was one and done, but I remember my mother coming to volunteer from time to time. Also, Fernette said she believes Spectrum offered discounted internet services for students. Also, she believes that there's free internet and cell phone for parents utilizing welfare services. This is great, but this is one thing about that, because where I'm from, literally where our house is, they still do not run cable there. So a lot of times, people that stay in rural areas, that's a great service. But with COVID, people, they realize, like, guess what? We're giving y'all something free, but it is not cost effective for AT&T, Comcast, Spectrum, or whoever you have to run those cables down that road, because they even look at the numbers. Like, even if everybody get the most expensive bundle, you still would never be able to get your money back.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you just do not have that many people. So that also lets you know, like, it was such a big thing because infrastructure. It's not, and you can't get those $1 trillion companies to run these fiber optic millions of dollars down this one dirt road for 3 houses. They, even if everybody, like you said, they would never even, it'll take over 100 years for them to be able to get their money back, and that's not cost effective for them. So that sometimes, even with those things, which is great, it's still not accessible for every single person. It's not.
And I know for us, like, especially during COVID, with kids going, virtual learning, our district is fortunate enough to where every kid from grades 3 through 12 gets a Chromebook. So every student has their own Chromebook, but then the district also had to go in and look at getting hotspots because kids didn't have internet at home. So
Fernette said that too.
We had to get the hotspots from the school, and I'm like, I'm still working at school, I'm doing summer hours, and so I have kids that are doing summer camps that are offered through the district where they may need their Chromebook, and some of them may have to have a hotspot because the district is offering a virtual summer camp as well as a in-person summer camp tutoring thing. And kids are like, oh, I don't have internet, so how am I supposed to do? So we'll get you a hotspot. You have to use the hotspot.
Yeah, it's so very multifactorial, because then now you find out, like, some people, the reason why you couldn't get in contact with them, they weren't doing their homework, they ain't had electricity at their house.
Yeah.
And that was a real thing, because I remember they was talking about it on the news here. Was like, so many people, they end up getting electricity and stuff cut off, evictions, and it just snowballs. So it's kind of like, if I ain't working and I don't know where my next meal is going to come from, education and educating your kids take the back burner, because it's like, okay, when you hungry, you can't focus. So it's good and bad things that happen. So hopefully this can kind of push the nation towards education reform, and also, for us as a nation to be very technologically advanced. Hopefully, the education can be on par with our IT stuff that we have. Yeah. So, any last and final remarks Do you have any questions for us or anything else that you would like to say?
No, this was fun. This is my first. I'm an avid podcast listener. I listen to podcasts all week. So 40 Spot is definitely on my list. Um,
Yay!
and this is the first time I've been on a podcast, so I'm really excited. Like I'm probably
And
gonna
we definitely gonna
for
have to have
myself
you
and be like,
back.
"Oh, that's me." um,
Thank you so much for joining us.
I
yes.
know.
This was amazing experience. If you're looking at my handle, you see my handle next to my name. That is my Instagram handle. I don't have a school account with Twitter or Facebook, but I do have one on Instagram. So you can see a couple things that are happening around our school. I haven't updated it in a while, but the school Instagram is linked right there too. Um, you can see what's happening in our school. I mean, my school is extremely unique. It's probably one of the most unique middle schools in CMS. As I said, we're basically three schools in one. So instead of having just individual grade level hallways, we actually have um, houses. So we offer global international studies, STEM, and earth and environmental studies. We offer an agricultural science class where our kids actually grow plants. And we have like these 30 mini greenhouses that are producing lettuce and tomatoes and peppers and herbs and all these things. And they're growing over the summer. For PE, we don't even offer like regular PE. Our kids actually do a bike program. So they're actually riding like several, like these $1,000 bikes around campus and learning bike safety. And it's
Wow.
so dope to be sitting in my like sitting outside or doing something. I'm walking from like one building to the next, and all of a sudden, like 30 kids just zoom by on bikes. Like, oh, where y'all going? And here comes our PE coach
I
right
need
behind
to
them.
volunteer just to ride the bike.
But it's such a cool space. We offer. We're a partial magnet school, so um,
Mm.
we do a leadership magnet. So we use Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective or Highly Effective Teens, and the kids learn
Oh.
the 7 habits. And that's embedded not only just with the magnet students, but with every kid that comes into the building too. So it's such a unique space. Like I said, we're probably the most diverse school in CMS, and it's such a cool place to be at. Just like any other school, we have our problems, but we also have some great things to celebrate too.
Oh
And shout
yeah.
out to let's see the comment. Tina Burton. Tina Burton, I told you I was gonna get you. FYI, Tina's my girlfriend. Um,
Yeah.
so she's the one that's been dropping all the comments and stuff in there.
Well, we thank her for her support.
Yes.
Support your
Oh,
boo
she's
thing,
dope.
girl.
She's definitely dope. She's definitely dope.
Yes, yes. I can't wait for him to bring you home to everybody, and then you be at one of the functions, and then I'll meet you. Be like, I know her. Yes, and Miss Tina, we gonna find out what you do because we love to have guests on. As we said with the 40 spot, we cover everything. You know, the good, bad, the ugly, everything 40, and basically that's everything in life in general.
Exactly.
So we definitely, definitely, definitely. I'm glad to know that you're a fellow podcaster. I'm so glad that you're here with us, BJ. We definitely would definitely have to have you back on because we have other shows lined up. Dealing with children that's on the spectrum. Um,
Awesome.
Also, relationships, definitely when school starts back or mid-year, how's it going, 2 quarters
Oh yeah.
down, two more to go. So we definitely, because both of us, we're HBCU graduates, and both of us have obtained higher degrees. We push education and stuff, and we know a lot of our um colleagues and our friends and stuff, they have children, they have grandchildren. Now they got everybody's somewhere getting educated. So we definitely don't want anybody to fall by the wayside. So
Right.
we definitely gotta have you back, and you know, and we need more black men
Yes.
in education.
2% of all educators are black men.
Ooh.
That's such a small percentage.
Two
I will.
percent.
I do want to say for our listeners, BJ's handle is Dean Williams, Dean Williams, EMS. Is it EMS or CMS?
EMS. That's my middle school EMS.
Okay. So follow him, and I think like with everything you're saying, even though it may be in a different city, you can look and see what's happening at his school, and maybe like bring it to your local school and say, "Hey, this looks very interesting. You
Right.
know, how can we make this happen? And even if you can't get there, you maybe get a little bit closer, like maybe get 2 bites.
Right.
The kid
Mm-hmm.
turns. But I think follow him, please, because I just I think that's amazing. Just sitting here listening to how unique your school is. It sounds like it's an amazing opportunity. But if you don't live there, you can't get it. But you can
Right.
live where you are. That would be awesome. So get
Yeah.
involved with your school.
Yes, get involved. Not just my school. Get involved with a school. I'm not gonna
Exactly.
Yeah.
say like your child. Get involved with a school. See what's happening, and truly, like, I tell people all the time. You know, when my school's name is mentioned based on the history of it, everybody's like, "Oh, you work there?" Like, "Oh, like." It's always had a bad connotation. But I tell people all the time, I'm like, you hear bad things, but come and see what's happening.
Mm.
Come look
Mm.
at how our students are the ones that are going to show you around the building. Come look at how our students fought to get rid of the dress code, get rid of the school uniform, and go to a traditional dress code. Come look at how the kids are leading everything in the building. They lead their whatever they want to do, they lead it.
Mm-hmm.
That means we don't do anything. Our eighth
Mm.
grade, the eighth grade social we just had, eighth grade graduation, that was all led by our students. I sat back and did nothing but go through and shake hands. That's all I did.
That's awesome. And that's setting them up for success.
Right.
Yes.
That is the education that they will be using day to day.
Yeah, it is, and also it in this trophy kid phase where everything is handed for you, where it's just like, okay, if you want it big and grand, like everything that we see over the top on social
Mm-hmm.
media, where y'all gonna have to do it. Who you go have, and then you kind of realize like, yeah, I got a lot of friends, but I ain't got no whole lot of trenchers,
Right.
to get down, worker bees and stuff. So your idea may have to be scaled down because you don't have that many hands and stuff. And then teachers like, oh no, it's all on y'all.
Right.
So that is awesome. That is very, very awesome. We're gonna be looking for great things with you, and hopefully you say they gave you giving them one more year, and then you hoping that you have your principal.
Well, I'm hoping this coming school year, like I said, we're waiting to see. Schools are wrapping up the year. People are being shifted in different positions. I just found out last Thursday my principal's leaving,
Mm.
and I have worked with her. She actually hired me when I first started teaching. So
Okay.
I've been her, basically, she calls me her work child.
Mm.
She's taught me everything I needed to know about education and administration and data and you name it. I learned it from her. And so she's actually leaving for a new position. We just found out Thursday. But I had told them when I came back to the school, I was like, look, y'all got me one more year and I need an AP position because right now in my dean position, I do assistant principal duties. I do everything they can do. I don't get their pay.
Right.
I get teacher.
Well, I think instead of Joe Clark, it gonna be B.J. Williams. I'm already naming and claiming it. So it's like it's yours, and sometimes when that you have flown under other people's wings and stuff like that, they see what you're capable of,
Yeah.
and God forbid you don't get it, then that means there's something else better for you, and then you already know it's just like, all right, I see how y'all do, so you know I'm already making my plans to exit. But at
Right.
least you let them know straight up, like, look, this is what I want to do, and I have a timeline for my life and
Yeah.
stuff.
Right.
So, but yes, we will be looking forward to that. Um, for big great things, and hopefully we can get some more people, black men, to see this, and then they want to get involved with their schools, if not get involved in education in itself. And I know you probably always go into education because representation does matter
Right.
in everything.
So yes, let
So
me know when y'all want me to come back. I'm all for it. This is fun.
we will. And I'm so glad because it's like short notes. Like, I know somebody in Myochi. I said, I'm gonna just reach out. I say he go do good. I say he my people. I said it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. And then when you said yes, it was just like, phew. It wasn't that I didn't think you was gonna say yes. It was just like, I hope
I don't
that
know if you're
my
busy.
the time is
The time,
and
man.
then
Yeah.
because of the summer. It's like, I don't know. He got stuff he might have to do.
I'm not
Oh
doing
well.
anything this summer but staying at home. Yes,
I
it is.
know that's right. So Now it is time for our birthdays. Do you have anybody in the birthday in June that you want to shout out for the birthdays, BJ?
Whose birthday's in June? I got an uncle. I think I got an uncle and a cousin that's birthdays in June. Um,
Okay.
don't know what day, but I know there's like a couple people that got birthdays in June.
All right. Well, my mother, I want to shout out her. Her birthday
Oh,
just passed. She turned 65.
Tiki!
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my godmama, Mama Cece, she had turned 66. And my white sister, Evelina, hers, and our cousin Trav, his birthday is this month. And and I want to give a shout out to Quinetta, her husband Nelson. His birthday is this month as
Oh
well.
yeah.
a lot of June birthdays. So I want to give a
Mhm.
shout out to one of our listeners, Sherlyn. Her birthday was on the 8th. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
If there's any other birthdays or anniversaries,
Oh, my cousin's birthday is today. Shout out
okay.
my cousin Betty. Betty's birthday is today. Happy birthday.
We also have Fernette said Al Roberts. That's one of her cousins. His birthday is today. So happy birthday to you. And yeah, she want to shout out to her husband again, Mr. Nelson. He holding it down with Queen. So happy birthday to him. Another lap around the sun. And to anybody that's having an anniversary and everything like that, you know, congrats. Happy anniversary to you.
Yes. And so, as we say every podcast,
Oh,
oh,
Yetta said that her 21st anniversary, their wedding anniversary is Wednesday. Her and
oh,
Nelson.
happy
Oh, happy anniversary.
anniversary.
Good Lord, 21 years. Jesus.
Look, we have to have a podcast about that. Yeah, you have to come on and tell us how you make that work.
I know, right?
But from the 40 spot again, we just want
Look,
to
we have to have a
say
podcast about that. Yeah, you have to come
happy
on.
birthday. And for anyone that wants to, we want to celebrate everyone's birthday. So please email us your birthday. All we need is the month and the day, or just the month, because we celebrate throughout the month. Email us at the40spot@gmail.com. That's the40spot@gmail.com. We would love to celebrate you.
We want to celebrate everyone's birthday. So please email us your birthday. All we need is okay. Look, we live, so look, stuff happens.
Yes, it does. And that's okay. But we just appreciate you guys. And that's it. Happy birthday.
Yes. Again, like, comment, subscribe, follow us on our social media platforms. Follow us where you get your podcast from. If you're on following us on YouTube, hit the notification bell so that you can get notified when we go live. And if you can't listen to us every other Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, you can always catch us on the replay wherever you catch a podcast at.
Yes, and our next podcast will be on June 26th. That's in 2 weeks. Again, 7 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. We will be discussing dating, honey.
Yes,
Does
yes, yes, yes.
swimming pool have piss in it? And maybe a little poop as well.
Maybe a whole lot of both.
Honey.
We go
But
find out.
that will be the topic. So please mark your calendars, tune in with us. And again, like Renee has said several times, if you can't watch it live, you can watch on the replay. And you can watch us or listen to us anywhere you get your podcast at the 40 spot. That is where we are on all platforms. Again, it's the 40 spot.
Oh,
Do
and
we
in
have any
between this,
final words?
yes, I would like to give everybody this because next time we see everyone, Father's Day will have passed. So happy Father's Day to all of
Oh,
those
yeah.
fathers that's out there, those people who have stepped in and have mentored and have been those father figures. Because it ain't just because you have a child and make you a daddy, you know. So all of those people, we love you, we appreciate you from the 40 spot, and you know it's not just that one day, but if that's the day they celebrate you, get your sock and get your ties, get your underclothes, your grilling sets, or whatever they get for you on Father's Day. We hope that you enjoy yourself and that you get your roses while you're here.
Yes. So just
And happy Juneteenth as well.
Oh
Black
yeah,
people.
Juneteenth is coming up.
well,
Yes.
we'll talk about Juneteenth too, and on the 26th. Yes, happy
Yeah.
June. And there's some celebrations around Atlanta, so I'm excited about it. So guys, it's really, so it looks like a lot of states will be doing some things. So look into that.
Yeah. But spin black because
Yes.
last year they, you still had to buy your paraphernalia from black owned businesses. Do the same thing this year.
Oh,
Don't
y'all
don't
should have
give
talked
all
about.
your money to Walmart and Target and all these other
Did
places.
y'all talk about the Walmart ice cream thing? Y'all need to talk about that.
We
Oh
did
yes,
talk about
we
that.
do. We will have to talk about that.
That
They
was
know better. I'm glad they pulled it, but
Yeah.
I kind of want to taste it. It did seem like it was gonna be a good little
Well,
flavor.
there is
funny.
black-owned business called Creamalicious who
Right.
has the same exact flavor, and the
Mhm.
idea is that they actually stole it from her because her products are in some Walmarts. Black-owned product is called
Oh,
Creamalicious. So, because a lot of people were like, I mean, that flavor sounds good. Yes, you can go and get your red velvet and cream cheese ice cream from Creamalicious, and you're
man.
supporting a black business.
Fight mode activated. They always somewhere stealing. It's always
Been
stealing.
been since been, so it's not even surprising, right?
Yeah, so we definitely that just need to be the whole thing while we were out,
Yes.
just talking about that. But any show ideas, anything like you said, you can DM us, you can message us in the comments even afterwards, or you can email us at the 4040 spot at gmail.com.
Yeah. Thank you all for tuning in live with us, and thank you for
Yes.
listening on the replay. And just want to remind you, in all your getting, get understanding. Have a wonderful week, y'all. Bye.
Right.